Cycle Fever TV is brought to you by these great sponsors, so support them. Call Tough Turf for all your landscaping and irrigation needs. Check out Seminole Power Sports for all their brands of motorcycles, accessories, and service. DA's Cafe, where it's all happening. Bikes, cars, great food, rock and roll music. Come on by. USA Payroll, payroll tax service, workforce benefit solutions, insurance, and human resources. Check them out.
The Ace is simply the most famous.
All right, welcome to Porsche Night once again at the Ace Cafe. It's always great to see everybody out here in their cars, and we have a very special guest with us tonight. We actually have two special guests with us tonight. There's a new Porsche dealership coming to Orlando, and Chris Mealy is the owner and general manager of Porsche South Orlando. So Chris, it's great to have you here, and you brought along a good friend, Carmen Serrata.
Carmen Serrato, yes, he's the finance director.
So he's going to be the finance guy, so we'll get to him a little bit later, and we'll just get started. So it's awesome to have you here and to talk about this, because I got to tell you, there's a lot of folks in this community who love Porsche, and there's a lot of folks in this community who have been saying, you know, I took a drive down toward Millennium Mall and down toward the attractions, and I see this new big building. Is that the Porsche dealership that's going up? So we want to hear all about the Porsche dealership, okay? But that's not really where I want to start tonight. What I want to start is to find out a little bit more about you, and really where did your Porsche story begin? You know, like maybe what are some of your earliest memories of Porsche or earliest experience with Porsche? So give us a little bit view into that.
Grew up in New Jersey, and from a young age I was a car nut. Always loved cars. I was always around cars. Became a Porsche guy back late 80s, early 90s. I had a 928 S4, did a bunch of PCA stuff. Vic Elford, Derek Bell, Justin Bell, they were my driving instructors early on, early 90s.
Wow,
then,
great choice for instructors.
Yeah, not kidding. Yeah. And then that evolved from there. I got obviously into the retail side of the business, moved my way up with a couple other brands, and now eventually here to Porsche. And I'm lucky enough, obviously, to be part of this great deal here. And it's a really special one that's going to be coming together.
Well, that's awesome. So a 928 S4, is that what you said?
Yeah, 1987, 928
87. So, all right, so you're talking about some drivers and stuff. Back in late 80s, I was at Sebring one year, and some friends of mine were actually running a car that John Paul Jr. was driving.
Yeah.
And so I was just there with the team and whatnot, and I had met John Paul Jr. many times before, and he was like, hey, Brian, we need something here. And he tosses me the keys, and I said, what's this? He goes, it's the 928. You can take it. But, so there I run off in this brand new 928 S4. And I had never even driven a 928 before, and it blew my mind. Right, I'd driven air-cooled Porsches, but when I got in that thing, it was awesome. So I can totally relate as to why that car got you excited and why that became the first one. All Porsche guys have a story, right? And what was it about the 928? What hooked you on the 928?
Two things. I went to a track event. It was at Watkins Glen. Bob Aiken, this was in 1985. He had a 928S. And Bob Aiken actually took me out on the track, and we were doing hot laps. And, obviously to have Bob Aiken, remember the famous Coca-Cola sponsorship he had on the car.
Yeah.
And it was a really, really cool thing for me. So that, and probably, I grew up in the 80s, so obviously risky business.
Risky business, yeah.
You know the deal.
That's
so, Tom Cruise in that car in the movie. So it was really a special car for me. It's something that I always wanted. And that was really a real special car at that point in time, and it served a really special place in Porsche's history.
Yeah, Yeah.
So for me, eventually I actually got another one after that. I got a GTS. So I had a 95 GTS.
Oh, wow.
So
you were the 928 guy.
Yeah. And
wow.
My cousin actually worked for Porsche Cars North America. So it was great. I actually had my own mechanic at the time. So it was cool. I mean, it was
okay,
a cool
so
time.
I'm just going to verify this. Trust but verify. So you knew Chris back then. Is this all true? Is this for real?
I would take him at gospel, whatever he says. Trust me. I know him for a long time.
At least drive the 928 back there?
Chris doesn't let me drive. No. I'm the worst driver in the world. I'm the worst driver in the world. Yeah. And I don't mind him.
He's scary.
The worst.
Okay, all right. Well, at least I know the car existed. He's not telling me.
There's a couple guys here that could do some DE with Carmen for sure.
Okay, all right, awesome. Well, cool. I always love hearing what really got you started in Porsche. Whenever I speak to anybody, and you normally hear some sort of a story like that. It's not just that they went out and they needed a car to get from point A to point B. There's something about it, that is so special, and people love to share the story, so thanks for that.
No, 100%.
We really loved it.
100%.
Loved hearing about that, and that car, you're right, in the 80s, the 928, I mean, really for Porsche at that time, that's where we thought everything was going to go. We thought maybe the 911 was going to go away, the 928s and the 944s were going to dominate, and, I'm kind of glad that it worked out otherwise, because I think things are really good today because of the 911 and how it continued to evolve and expand the brand, and then they're able to bring in a lot of other things. So I'm glad it sort of went the way that it did.
It all worked out for the good.
It all worked out for the best. Okay, so let's switch gears and get right to it, because I know there's a lot of people here who do want to hear about the dealership. So maybe you could tell us first, how did you end up here, and maybe how did you choose, or how did you land on, okay, we want it to be in South Orlando. We want to build a Porsche dealership, and we want it to be in South Orlando.
So what happened basically is there was what they call an RFP. It was a request for a proposal. Porsche put it out there that they were going to open up a point in South Orlando. So they saw the expansion in Orange County, and they knew how many people were moving in particular to those South Orlando zip codes. And they basically put it out. My partners, myself, put together a group, and we put together a proposal based on that facility. And, it went down from probably about 8 to 10 people originally, and you go round by round, they narrow it down to the final 2 or 3, and luckily we came out on top.
Wow, so that feels good, right?
Yeah.
We love competition. Yeah. I think anybody who's attached to the Porsche brand or loves the Porsche brand is a competitor, right? We all like to compete, so that's pretty cool.
Oh, very
8
cool.
or 10 guys and or 8 or 10 groups, and it comes down to that. All right, so South Orlando, right down near the attractions. We got 60-some million people coming here every year to visit our parks and to visit the attractions. So we're probably going to see a lot of people just coming around just to see what is this place all about, because the size of it. So maybe what can you tell us about the facility itself that maybe sets it apart? It's maybe a little bit different than the Porsche dealership that most of us are used to driving up to, no matter what town you're in, whether you're in Florida or California or Michigan or New Jersey, wherever it might be.
So, you touched obviously on the facility. So the facility, from what I'm being told and from what I've seen, it's the largest exclusive Porsche dealership in the world. So it's over 230,000 square feet, 120,000 of which are in condition and space. So obviously you have the showrooms, you have the workshop, service drive, and all that together is a little bit over 120,000 square feet, which is, it's a big showroom. 70, 75 cars you could fit. And, there's an event space, there's a classic area. We did a lot of different things. There's an escalator in the showroom.
An escalator.
Yeah.
So this is retail deluxe. This is it, right?
We're gonna have, for sure.
Well, okay. Yeah. All right. Awesome.
So it's got a different look, a different feel, but really touching on it, forget about the facility. I mean, listen, the facility's amazing. It really is something that's state of the art, but the people really are the special part of it. And I think personally, I know we have a really special crew that's coming in, and we grab people from all over the country. There's people reaching out to us from all over the country based on social media, stuff like this that we're doing. Right. So there's a lot of people reaching out that want to be part of it. So that's the most special part to me. In my heart, that's the part that means the most to me.
I
honestly.
totally relate.
Absolutely.
I totally relate.
Absolutely.
Well, awesome. So this particular location, it just seems like, wow, how did you snag that spot? Because that is, that's pretty prime real estate right here in Orlando. How did that come together?
We looked at a bunch of different spaces, and we knew that we obviously had to be close to the Millennium Mall, and that's really the gateway. I mean, obviously that bridge is, the one on Conroy is just different. It has the whole Orlando logo, and that really is the gateway going into South Orlando, which really drives, obviously, Universal, SeaWorld, Disney, and we got right there. As you come in, we're right there. So, next to the Millennium Mall, as you said, it's, over 70 million visitors into the city a year, and it's driving a lot of traffic. So that was the place. We were fortunate enough that there was one parcel that was there, and we knew, most people when they build a facility, they usually say after 3-5 years, hey, you know what? We outgrew this place. I hope I have that problem, but
right.
We really went all out, and we really built it for the future and with future expansion of the brand. And there's a lot of great things coming online, especially going into the electrification part of the business. And I really think that Porsche is really at the forefront of that. And I think that they're really going to make some real serious inroads on the industry in general.
We talked about that in an earlier show that we did last year. We talked about EV and Porsche. We had, a Porsche Cayenne hybrid out here that night, and we talked a lot about it. And at that time, it hadn't started to roll, but then within about a month or two of us having that conversation about that, all the manufacturers started to announce that they were doubling and tripling down their investments in electric and in EV. So you can see that just really in the last 12 months, especially, everybody in the auto manufacturing world is jumping onto that. And Porsche, being the engineering leaders, always wanting to be at the forefront, just makes total sense. And it's going to be pretty cool to see what happens.
Absolutely, and I'm glad to be part of it.
So this place is going to be all rocking and rolling for electric. That's good.
Yeah, we got chargers everywhere.
Okay.
I mean, it almost looks like a power plant with all the different stuff that we have going on.
Well,
but it's good.
Well, that's awesome. So Carmen's going to be your finance director? Is that what you said?
Yeah, Carmen's going to be the finance director.
Okay.
Carmen and I go way back. Obviously, we grew up in the same town. We actually served in the Marine Corps together, so we're both Marines.
Hoorah.
Yeah.
All right.
And which is great. And then we reconnected. He was one of the vice presidents for TD Bank, and he was doing lots of loans, obviously auto loans and stuff like that. TD kind of got away from that, and he got more focused on the mortgage side of the business. And he always wanted to come to Florida. His mom lives down here, so here was the opportunity to grab him and bring him down here, and
Awesome.
It's a great thing.
So what do you? Yeah, pass the mic over. So what do you think of Central Florida so far?
It's a wonderful place. The opportunity is immense. I can't thank Chris enough for trusting in me, a guy with very little car experience. I'll put it out there right away.
Right.
But finance, banking, loans, that's where I live.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I've been down here since June, and I'm really, really looking forward to this.
Well, welcome to Orlando. Welcome to Florida. I can guarantee you one thing. It's the only guarantee I'm going to make. It's definitely going to be warmer here for the next 4 months than it's back in New Jersey. Okay, I can guarantee you that.
For sure.
All right?
I could guarantee that myself. I'm not going to miss shoveling snow.
All right.
Trust me.
Well, so anything else you want to share about the journey with this whole dealership, or is that pretty much wrap it up? Is there anything else you want to talk about?
I mean, we're going to go ahead and we're about 2 months away from when the store is going to open sometime in November. So we're really excited, and there's going to be more to come. But as we get closer on the timeline, obviously like to do something special for the PCA people. Maybe have a preview night. I like to get everyone in ahead of time and just kind of do the tour because, obviously you've been to the facility and there's no furniture, there's nothing in. Obviously the floors, everything's in. But it takes the better part of 45 minutes to an hour just to tour the facility as it is. Once you put the vehicles, the furniture, all the graphics, there's a lot to see, and it'll be really cool to get everybody to be part of it.
That'll be a fun night.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so the invitation's open there. All of our Porsche Club folks that are here tonight.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're going to have a nice event. All right. right. Well, I want to thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having
Really
me.
appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
You know, it's going to be great times ahead.
Yeah.
And really looking forward to it.
Thank you. I appreciate
All right.
it. You
so
got
it's
it.
good to see you.
You got it.
Carmen, thanks for coming in.
for having us.
All right, guys. All right, so Chris Mealy and Carmen from Porsche South Orlando. Pretty exciting stuff coming up. All right, we're going to change gears from talking about Porsche right now, and we're going to have a couple of guys come in. And you know, when you talk about Ace Cafe, there's a lot of different things that go on out here, not just Porsche or motorcycles, but all kinds of things. Literally every night of the month, there's another event. And we've got some folks that are doing some things with a local Jeep group who are doing some really pretty special things, actually, and maybe something that you hear in this little segment might inspire you to do the same. So, want to have Rick come in. Good to see you. All right, have a seat. And it's Jorge, right? All right, Jorge, grab a seat over here. And so we'll just talk real quick, guys. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about what transpired. Jorge is part of a group that is involved with Jeeps. So we're the Porsche guys, we got the bike guys, we got the Jeep guys. So maybe you can tell us a little bit how you came to know Jorge and talk a little bit about this.
My name is Rick Sarmiento, and I have a nonprofit called United States Motorcycle Corps Charities. It is primarily based on assisting the needs of our veterans, but we also assist first responders and others in need. But we sponsor an event called Operation Mickey Mouse. There's a family that has a 2.5-year-old daughter who has leukemia. Her father is a 14-year combat wounded, 100% disabled veteran. So we did an event to bring down the entire family, mom, dad, Anna Laura, who's got leukemia, and her 2 brothers, to Orlando, Florida for an entire 1 week's vacation. So we reached out to different organizations and individuals to partner with us because we couldn't handle that task by ourselves. And sure enough, somehow Jorge was reached through Jerry Strickland and Mission 22. They do amazing work for our veterans. And then Jorge ended up doing a charity event. I'm going to have him kind of explain what he did, but they raised $750 for our charity, which in turn was provided to this family. So Jorge, why don't you go ahead and share a little about 365 Jeep Life and what you did as well for the charity.
Yeah, so we ended up getting contact by Jerry from Mission 22, and we decided to make an event called Jeep versus Suzuki Samurais, and so we did it right here on the parking lot, and so we charge money, you know, like $10 per vehicle to get in, and that money was divided in 3 different charities actually. So part of it went to this soldier, and it was an honor to be part of that
fantastic thing. Yeah,
Rick ended up putting together.
So tell us what else happened. So you guys got together, but there's another story of a charitable thing that you guys did and got involved with for the folks down in Puerto Rico after the hurricane last year, right?
Yeah, for the Hurricane Maria, Puerto Rico got hit really hard, and we ended up getting with Sammy Promotions. He actually get us the Orlando Eye, the parking lot, and we did a call to the community, and it was overwhelming. We decided to collect 1 container, courtesy of Nautic of Orlando.
So a big shipping container.
Yeah, it was a 40-foot shipping container.
Okay.
And within an hour and a half, we ended up filling up that container, and then on the next couple hours, literally, we ended up with like 20 plus containers.
Hold on. You said that you did a call to the community to help donate stuff to send back to Puerto Rico. You had 1 container, a 40-foot container. In a matter of hours, not only did you fill 1 container, but it went to 26 containers?
Yes, about 26.
So 26 containers of just all kinds of things to help the folks in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, it was.
I've got a little technical problem, I guess. Are we better now?
Okay.
Okay.
It was about 26 53-foot containers.
Well, who's counting at that point, right? 26 40-foot containers.
All I see was like tractor trailers, like left and right, you know.
So I heard you guys talking earlier. So this went well beyond that night too. It went on for quite some time.
Yes.
Of you guys continually getting goods, things that will help the people in Puerto Rico, and many flights down, many more more containers.
Yes,
and
we
it's
ended
still
up-
going on today.
Yeah, we ended up flying 27 times. We
27 flights.
Yeah, we fly
Wow.
27 times.
That's
we
fantastic.
we brought people that were sick or their cancer treatment got interrupted. Kids that have some treatments too interrupted. We ended up bringing them up here and getting help. And until last weekend, Jayla and Gar Foundation, which is the people that I partnered up with, we got together, and actually this weekend they were down there building a house for somebody that actually needed.
Right. So I think what the message here is that, you know what, you can see a lot of the bikers, and, you know, if you're not a biker, you have, you know, I don't know, you have an idea of what bikers are all about. And let's just say that some people, you know, it's not a favorable idea sometimes about bikers, right? But the bottom line is bikers do a lot of charitable things, especially in the Central Florida community. There's so much going on in this area with bikes. And it's not just the bike guys who are doing charitable things, it's also the Jeep guys. And it's many other groups that come out here to Ace Cafe. And it's not just for, you know, getting together and having a beer or a drink or food and showing off their cars, but they're actually mobilizing people and getting together and helping charity. So I think that was really the message that we wanted to convey tonight to everyone who's listening. And just thank you guys so much for stopping in and talking to us for a couple of minutes. It's awesome. Did you have something else you wanted to mention?
Yeah, you got to mention about, you're still collecting right now for the hurricane, that Hurricane Florence in North Carolina. There's a drop-off here that 365 Jeep is collecting through Thursday, I believe, till 12 noon.
Okay, so
Exactly. Like I say, as we were working in Puerto Rico this past weekend, at the same time, our community in North Carolina need our help now. Thank God the hurricane didn't hit them, but
It's
they
still
have
a mess.
big floats.
Yeah,
it's a big mess.
Yeah.
Just a couple minutes ago, they were being hit by tornadoes.
yeah.
So it's not pretty up there. So we're trying to collect here in Ace Cafe donations all the way until Thursday
So
at noon.
bring donations here for
Please.
the victims of Florence through Thursday. You can drop off any goods that might help those
Yes.
folks out here through Thursday. All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming on and talking to us. Really appreciate it.
We appreciate
Good to see
everything you do as well. Great job.
All right, guys. All right, so we're going to bring in our next guests, and that's Bert and Ann Del Villano with the Porsche Club here in the Orlando area, the Citrus region of the Porsche Club of America. And they're making their way towards us right now. And you guys can sit whichever works. So it's nice to see you. Nice to see you, Bert. Nice to see you, Ann. All right. So now we're going to get back into Porsche to start talking some Porsche stuff. Does that sound good, guys?
All right.
Well, you heard a little bit from Chris, so now you know his story. He's a 928 guy.
Yeah.
Right? That's pretty cool.
Yep.
So what I want to know first, and you're going to have to pass the mic to Ann, okay? I want to know first, Ann, who really got involved with Porsche first? Was it you or was it Bert?
I think we did it together.
You did it together. Okay, do you remember who? Was it all down here with the Citrus region?
No, we were in California.
In California.
First event was at Sears Point.
First car we bought was actually in New Jersey.
New Jersey. Okay, well, there's another.
But we never joined the Porsche Club till California. Can you hear this?
Yeah, just a little bit closer.
Okay, we never got involved in it until California.
Okay, so it was all here. So do you remember who the first person in the club here in Central Florida that you met was?
No, I don't.
No? Was it Nort? Maybe Nort?
I think actually Jennifer.
Jennifer Barrows?
Yes.
Okay, well, we've had Jennifer on the show before. Her and Greg have joined us. So, okay, all right, well, good. Well, I wanted to check and see where it was all first. So it was true teamwork. You guys both got interested at the same time. Okay. All right, so now I want to pick your brain a little bit.
Okay, here, Bert.
Yeah. So for Porsche, you guys got involved in the club at the same time. What was your first purchase of a Porsche? What was the first Porsche car that you got involved with?
We bought a 1983 SC, which is a great car, and we kept it for probably 20 years and sold it to our son-in-law. So it's still in the family. And that was interesting because she kind of got it for me for my birthday present.
Oh, see, that is awesome. I mean, you are one of the luckiest guys on the planet. Your wife bought you a Porsche for your birthday.
You have no idea.
I don't know. I think I'm lucky because I got an awesome wife who supports this crazy Porsche thing and has from the day we met. But buying a Porsche for their birthday, wow, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
All I did was write the deposit.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, but that's what it took, right? That's what it took to happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so after the SC, what was it? What was next?
We had a couple of 914s next.
Oh, now you're after my heart? My first Porsche was a 914.
Oh, fantastic car. And we decided that it was too abusive on the SC to put it on track. And so we bought a couple of 914s as track cars.
Okay.
They're great cars, slot cars.
Yeah.
They're just remarkable automobiles. And Porsche doesn't like to acknowledge the 914 as part of the history, but the Cayman Boxster is really just a grown-up 914.
Oh, that's what it is. That's right. 914. And when you look at just in the last 3 or 4 years, the Porsche 914 has gained so much more respect.
Yeah.
We've seen two cars. When you talk about cars and values and whatnot, it's one thing. But then when you talk about fun factor, it's another. And really, the 914 checks all the boxes. Checks any box.
It does.
The fun factor, the values now are going up. I mean, we saw a car this year, a 914, a 1.8 liter 914, go for almost $80,000 at auction, and another one that went for over $60,000, I think, in Monterey just a couple of weeks ago.
Wow.
So not all 914s are in that category, but it is kind of crazy. Yeah. So maybe that's a good segue because I know you've been involved with the club here for many, many years.
Yep.
And so tell us about how you got involved with autocross. You're the chairperson for the autocross and for driver's education.
Yep.
And it doesn't surprise me that a 914 owner is doing this, right? I've heard a lot of those stories. So maybe tell us a little bit about how you got involved in that. What led you to get involved with the autocross and become the chairperson for the club?
We chaired the autocross series in San Francisco for a couple of years.
Okay.
And moved here and didn't find anything that really suited our needs. And so you've got a couple of choices, one of which is just say, I'm going to do it.
Right.
And together, we started a formalized autocross series. The club had run 1 or 2 a year, but they were a little chaotic. Literally stopwatches.
So you brought some organization and some fun to it.
Yeah, and
some extra fun.
And that was in 2003 or 2004. And so, and that series has been going on. We run roughly 8 events a year. I try to keep it as a friendly competition. I don't want to get all vicious, so I'm kind of careful about how we class cars and keep it. To quote Robert De Niro, we want to levitate the situation.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's one thing about autocrosses. I got introduced to autocrossing when I was in college at the University of Florida, and we used to have an autocross in the commuter lot, the commuter parking lot up there. And I had my 914 at the time, and I would autocross it, and it was just so much fun. So that's where I first got introduced to it. Did one at Sebring too, and did a driver's ed down at Sebring. At that time, got introduced to the PCA that way. So now, but you're running a whole series, so you're sort of following all different sports today. It's not just a season, but there's actually like a championship. There's some other component to it. So now, do they gain points throughout the year for the series, and then you crown a champion?
We do accumulate points per event. It's a mixed bag at the event, so we welcome all kinds of cars. There's everything from beat-up old Volkswagens to WRX STIs to Corvettes.
Okay, so it's not just the Porsche guys.
No.
Right?
But the only one that scores points for year-end is the Porsche group.
Okay.
So those other guys come, they just run for fun.
Right. And I think you have a partner who we had out here a couple of shows ago, is they helped Kip Van Steenberg, who was a 944 guy, a national champion 944 144 driver, and the guys over at German Excellence helped us sponsor the series. Is that right?
German Excellence is our major sponsor for the autocross.
Well, that's awesome. I know that they've been involved for a long time.
They're great folks. Donnie Northrup is just a wonderful guy.
Good. Well, that's great to hear.
Yeah.
And this is held where? So tell everybody where you do this 8 times a year.
We play at the Lake County Sheriff's Training Facility.
Oh, wow.
It's out in Tavares. It's a medium-sized lot. And we build courses with cones. So you have to, one of the key elements, as you know, in being successful in autocross is being able to navigate through a sea of cones.
Yeah.
And I've written quite a bit about how you have to learn how to see the course, and how if you get imprinted badly, then you'll never get out of it.
You never get out. It's almost like a maze, like a corn maze, right?
Yeah.
Well, so for folks who really don't understand, I mean, most people think, racing a car, it's either drag racing in a straight line, or you're running around a circle track or a road course. And autocrossing is neither of those things.
No.
Because in all of those sports, you're competing against someone else on the track at the same time.
Right.
This is different. You're running the course solo.
Yep.
You're running through cones, so it's a set course, and you're just keeping time. And whoever has the lowest time of the day in the different classes becomes your winner.
That's right.
So it's really just you against the clock and your driving skill. So that's what makes it kind of cool. It's very safe. So for folks who want to go to the next step, I guess, with their sports car and do something, maybe a little more responsible and not go out and street race and so forth, they can get involved in autocross and really have a great time.
The guys that do autocross and the track events do not speed on the highway. That's unsafe. There's no telling what's going to happen around you out on the road. On an autocross, there's nobody around you. And in our track events, it's very, very, very controlled.
Yeah. So talk about that a little bit. So you have autocrosses with the PCA, but then you also have racing in the PCA, which I don't know that you're involved with that right at this point.
No.
But driver's education is just really trying to get people up to speed as to how to navigate a real racetrack.
Yeah, and to drive your car at the limit in a safe environment without having to worry about the expense and the risk involved in actual racing competition, because it can get pretty vicious out there.
It can get vicious and get very expensive too.
Yeah, and
right?
Expensive is not the word.
So talk about it. Have you done any racing? Have you done any, you've done autocross, you've done driver's ed. Have you done any Porsche Club racing or any other types of racing outside of that?
No interest.
No interest. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's awesome. So you've got these two things that you're really passionate about, and you love sharing with people and teaching and coaching them. So what's better than that? Right? You get a chance to just have a blast.
I can actually race me.
That's right. Just worry about getting better.
As long as I get a better time than her, I'm okay.
So did we cover this earlier? You talked that you got involved with a Porsche Club together.
Yeah.
And your first Porsche was an SC, but that seems like it was a little further on for you. Was there anything in your childhood about cars or about Porsche, or did it just all start a little bit later for you?
It started later. When I was a kid, I used to draw pictures of things like an Austin Healey 3000. And so I always liked the styling, but I was not in an environment where it was feasible, financially or with my friends, to get involved in anything like that. And then the initial introduction to racing was actually through her.
Oh, see?
Yeah.
Okay.
And she worked with a friend who invited us to an autocross.
Oh, really? And that was, you want to pick that up? So that was out in California?
In California, we got a Corvette. We started out with Corvettes.
And where in California was this, Ann?
We were in San Mateo.
San Mateo. So
it's actually San Carlos. And
so where is that? I'm not familiar with that.
It's in the Bay Area.
In the Bay Area. Okay, South Bay Area?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So
we traveled.
She actually planted the seed about autocrosses in you?
We got involved in autocross through my friend, and then went on from there.
Yeah.
It was very costly.
Yeah, but if it's not for your friends, maybe we're not even sitting here talking talking about this, right? Isn't that crazy? It's funny how the world works.
Yeah.
Well, that's a really cool story. That's awesome. So anything else about the club that you want to talk about? You know, it means so many things to different, you know, it means so many different things to everybody.
We meet a lot of friends, and we do a lot of events together. Bert and I are very active in the club with organizing, and so it's a big part of our life here in Florida. It really is.
So it means a lot to you guys. It's a big part of your lives every year. Yeah.
I think if there were one element that I think is important to recognize is that when you're either doing an autocross or on the track events and DEs, a lot of people are worried about hurting their cars.
Yeah.
And Porsches are built for this. You know, we've put tens of thousands of miles on cars, literally.
Yeah.
And sad to say, but you know, we did have one recent mechanical issue that.
But it's going to happen. But you're so, it's so right. That's what these cars. That's the DNA in these cars. Is
DNA of these cars. Absolutely.
It's to run them, you know, in that way, and you know, no better way than to do it in a safe environment to get started with. Build your way up through autocross, through DE. If you want to take it to the next level, we've interviewed quite a few folks sitting in these chairs here over the last year who have taken it to the other levels.
Yep.
And had a lot of fun that way too. But it's kind of like it's building blocks, right? It's one step at a time to get to that final
but
racing.
Ann mentioned the social side of it. There's a real brotherhood of people that go to these events. And, you know, every once in a while, somebody's going to run into a mechanical problem or something, and you are never alone.
Never left alone.
Never
That's
alone.
Right.
One of my friends over there had a car where the battery ran down, and it wouldn't unlock. So poor guy's stuck there. You know, how am I going to get this thing home? You know.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, people appeared from nowhere, diagnosed the problem, fixed the problem, and off he went.
Yeah, it's awesome. I totally understand what you're talking about. You know, it is a brotherhood out there. It's a common interest, and people, you know, really follow that passion and you know, and through that make just great relationships with folks. I know Nort has spoken about it. Just about anything I've ever seen Nort talk about the club, he always says it's all about the people and how much fun. And for those of you who maybe, you know, didn't see any of our earlier broadcasts, but Nort Northam was the founder of the local Porsche Club here in the Citrus region. He started it back in the 70s, and no better guy to tell us how to continue it on than Nort, and that's really a pretty cool thing. Well, I'll tell you what.
And a hell of a driver.
Yeah, a hell of a driver is right. Well, is there anything else about Porsche that you want to talk about? Anything you want to ask me? Anything about the show? Anything at all? Or do you think we're wrapped up?
I think this is pretty close.
Pretty wrapped up?
Yeah.
Well, let's do this. We didn't talk about the beautiful car that you brought in here. So tell us a little bit about this one.
This is a 2016 Cayman GTS. It's the last generation of the 6-cylinder engines. Everything after this is a 4-cylinder turbo. It is a magnificent car. It is. We've had a lot of Porsches, and I think you would agree. This is the best overall car of all of them.
Wow, that's awesome.
It's peppy. It's got a wonderful suspension. It's comfortable on a long trip, and we're going to find out how it does under stress.
So GTS, what does that mean for the folks in the world out there?
Turismo something or another.
Sport.
It's
whatever.
It's you know. They put a lot of extras in it and then give it a label on the back.
That's right. So it's kind of like a little sport package, a touring and sport package. Okay. Yeah. Well, what's really neat is a lot of times when you talk to Porsche people who have owned a lot of cars, you know, a lot of different Porsche. Sometimes they tell you that, you know, they talk about that car they let get away, or that car that they sold before, you know, before the prices went up, or before, you know, another car got cool to own, you know, what have you. So it's really cool to hear you say that the last car that you purchased, this one, is really the one that you enjoy the most.
Yeah.
And I think what's pretty cool about that is it speaks to the Porsche engineering and the evolution of the cars, and they have brought you along on a journey, and you are totally bought in, it sounds like.
Our first Porsche that we bought was still in the family because our son-in-law bought it.
Wow, that's awesome. That's a great story.
And he said
that's the SC. So the SC is still in the family, and is that here in Florida or in California? Alabama. All right. Well, so it's within it's in the earshot here. That's
and
right.
You know what? It cemented his relationship when he saw us with that car, and he said, "I have to marry that girl."
Wow, that's great. Well, how long have you guys been married? 54 years. All right. Hey, how about a round of applause in here for these guys? Married 54 years. Wow, that's awesome. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for coming in. I can't thank you enough for saying yes. Sharing your car with us, coming out here on a night, and just talking Porsche and having a great time. It's really great to see you. Hope to see you much more in the months and years ahead. And enjoy the rest of your night.
We'll be here.
All right.
Wonderful.
Thank you, and take care. All right, guys. I think that's going to wrap us up here for Porsche Night in this edition here in September. So we will see you next month.
Okay. That was fun.
Yeah.